Goodness gracious me. Good morning. This is Jonathan Albin, and this is NycosRPG. And I know it's an outrageous claim to say, but I have discovered, actually, I've been at it for quite a while, so I think I would have a very clear understanding. But I have discovered that there are 6 keys to winning roleplay games. Whether you're talking about Dungeons and Dragons or any of the other properties that are roleplay games, we do have the capability of winning. If you utilize these 6 keys to roleplay games, you can actually win at them. So let's take a quick second to reveal what these 6 are, and we'll go over them really quickly because I want to get that word out quickly, and then we'll come back and go through everything in a whole lot more detail. Oops. Blinded everything. There we go. Oops. That's not the right one. Boy, that looks cluttered, doesn't it? It's not what I want to do. So, we are going to talk about how you can, with confidence, commitment, cleverness, creativity, collaboration, and cooperation, you can win at Dungeons and Dragons every time. I know that sounds ridiculously outrageous, but it's because we are going to be looking at the way that we can actually bring winning to the game of Dungeons and Dragons, regardless of victory conditions. We'll go into more details on this all in a second, but realize that winning is possible if you utilize these 6 points as game hacks for the way you approach and literally attack the problem of your Dungeons and Dragons or role-playing game in general. So as we get ready to get started on these, I want to thank you for joining us. This is NycosRPG. I am Jonathan Albin, your host, and we're going to get into these 6. We're starting right off at the top. So let's hop over there, shall we? All right, so we are going to be looking at these 6 points and how it is that they are able to help win. We're going to go into each one of these in particular. Ooh, my volume's way too high. This is going to be way too noisy. Oh my god. Sorry about that. So, the first one is confidence. And it seems that's a bold statement to make. But let me show you how confidence can help you, quote, win at role-play games. First of all, when we're looking at confidence, we're going to be looking at, there are 4 ways. This is hack number 1, and the hack is confidence. And the way that confidence can allow for a success, a victory in Dungeons and Dragons or any other role-play game is that you're able to show interest to the game master, and there is nothing more powerful to the storyteller or the game master than knowing that somebody cares about the story that's being told. And when you speak confidently and you present your positions strongly, you not only show that you have interest in the property, but you actually offer insight that you obviously intend for your ideas to be considered. And having that confidence is a surefire way to get that condition across. And maybe it doesn't change the world, maybe it doesn't adjust things, but if you're constantly using confidence, you are going to be able to boost the morale of the others in your group, because if you're confident and you're presenting the information that you have in your persona enthusiastically, you're going to naturally make them all feel enthusiastic as well. And ultimately, confidence is an obvious sign of a leader. So if you are a confident person, you're going to be able to convince others to work with you. And the more you work together, the more successful you will be. Let's look at the second one of these. So we're going to be looking at commitment. Now, in the case of commitment here, I'm not talking about, there's obvious things that commitment includes. We can definitely say that if you are going to be a winner at Dungeons & Dragons, if you're going to be a winner at role-play games, you have to be there. You have to be at that table and presenting your information. So you got to be committed to being there on time. You got to be committed to being there at every session. Now, if your world doesn't provide you with those kind of benefits and your games groups only play periodically, it's not necessarily a loss to consider commitment, because there's a secondary meaning to commitment. Commitment means you're all in. You are there for the game. You are listening to every word that drops from the game master's lips. You're very dedicated to the story and the players in that story. And when you have that level of commitment, then you're going to be much more likely to hear all of the possible tidbits and clues. You'll have a greater likelihood of having the resources at your disposal in game. And that commitment also has to do with when you make a decision. There's no variance. You know exactly what you want to do, and you're going to make the case for it. So commitment is going to be helpful. And now, so let's take a look at how that could be. And the way that works is number 2. Oops. Commitment. That's a good one. So somehow we've dropped the page. That's okay. Let's see, unless it's someplace else. No. So commitment. It's. I dropped the 4 points, but I'm gonna go over them anyway. This is all in my head because it's been so exciting. So your commitment works because it shows your dedication, and that dedication provides the other players with the willingness to do their homework. If you are doing this, you're presenting the leadership by action. When you actually move to accomplish within your game session, you give your persona great opportunities to advance. You are part of the story and you are in the scene, and there's no doubt that you are part of the group. And that commitment also means you're committed to your mates in the adventuring group, whether you are considered to be a team or a party or a cadre or whatever term you want to use. The fact that you are dedicated to the completion of the task, you are fully committed to the story, you're there every week, you're making things happen, you are giving yourself every opportunity to earn experience points, and with that you're going to be closer to victory with each action that you take. Furthermore, you're going to be boosting other people's commitment because you're showing as an example how to become committed, how to dedicate yourself, how to reach for your objectives, but know that there is the work that needs to be done. You're committed to that action. Finally, beyond those three, you also offer the opportunity for players to follow your example, and you're working as a team leader, as a part of the community, a part of the team, to get others to advance. That collective opportunity absolutely improves your chances of victory. Oops, wrong one. Go back here again. So beyond confidence and commitment, we also have cleverness. And cleverness, I think, it's a powerful word. And in roleplay games, the snappy nature of the excitement in the game really comes through if you are yourself being clever. And in the case of cleverness, there are several situations that this commits you to. All right, so why do we have two of them on All right. So cleverness. When you are demonstrating cleverness, a reason why it is a surefire way to victory in role play games and in Dungeons and Dragons is that you're showing thought. You are actually part of it is you're engaging your brain and you're in the moment and you are looking for the solutions to the puzzles that are being presented and you're figuring out the optimal way to take out the big bad in the game. You're looking for the clues and you're working with the other players. And cleverness is fun. If you're speaking of the way you're offering alternatives in game that will give your characters the leg up to catapult you towards that objective of victory. Now, of course, the idea here is that you're also going to be using your cleverness to boost the discussion about the game, period. You are, as we said, committed, you are confident, and now you're being clever. And that is also a sign of your involvement because you're listening to the clues in order to get the cues. Does that make sense? You're trying to find ways to achieve victory mentally, and you're engaging with the others, and you're being smart about it. You're not just dumping it based on your pure physical attributes, and it's no longer just a matter of I hit, you hit. It's actually how do we solve the puzzle? What kind of things can we engage with? You know, what can we do to actually accomplish the task? The next one, let's see here. I'm going to bypass my median step there. And I'm going to go directly to creativity. And creativity may be the most powerful of your mechanisms for gaining success in roleplay games. It is a common belief that a victory in a roleplay game cannot happen because there are no winners and losers, and I totally disagree. I believe that every person at the table who is engaging and supporting the advances of every other member of the group is going to be gaining victory. You gain the success through innovation, not just following the routines and the patterns you may have done in the past, but you're considering what other options you have, and you're looking for new and innovative ways to take victory from the jaws of defeat. You're looking for the ways to defeat the monsters, resolve the puzzles, rescue the targets, and all of that. This creativity also allows you to offer vision to what's going on in the story. Yes, perhaps you could describe your actions perfunctorily and say, well, I rolled this and I deal this much damage. But instead, if you explain how the relative value of the dice, even if it's just a minor difference between, say, a 16 to hit and a natural 20, you can describe how the blade or the mace glides across the skull, blah blah blah. You build in a broader vision of what's going on, and this ability, especially if you're working within a group, this creativity boosts community because you are collectively winning. Victory doesn't come alone because roleplay games are fundamentally team sports, right? You are a part of a team. You're a part of a group or a cadre. You are here to accomplish the task, but not to do it alone. There's no I in team and no I in party. Why? Yes, there's a why. But okay. The main thing is that your creativity will demonstrate to your storyteller and director that you are present. You are in the scene. You have heard the description. You are playing off of the description given and finding ways to exact the team's objective on the scene. Find my buttons. Our next, beyond creativity, we come to our fifth objective, which is collaboration. If I can get my buttons to start. And collaboration, I want to explain this one a little bit to a greater extent than perhaps the other ones that I've talked about. So let me switch over there real quick here. So the idea of collaboration as a winning strategy for Dungeons and Dragons is that you are not just working together and not just making suggestions, but you're putting your minds together. You're listening intently to what your co-competitors, those that would be in the game with you, and you're building off of what they have come up with, and therefore collectively you're working towards a greater good for all. And that was essential to realize when we're talking about winning in role-play games, and we're talking about the ability to actually achieve the goals and to get and to advance the objectives and make a winning condition. And certainly there can be deficits. Certainly there could be points that where dice rolls don't go the way of the group and everything. Yet, if you are working collaboratively, if you're sharing the work, as it were, you're going to be much more likely to gain that victory. And we do that because showing your collaboration demonstrates to the players at the table and the game master that you are being part of a team. You are definitely working as a collective. You are offering a level of inclusion that you wouldn't find in a less competitive and less collaborative game. If you are working together, there's no one-upmanship. There's no, as a no I in team, there's no identity that isn't advancing the collective group. Now, there are nuances of role-playing games, and there is some argument that could be made that being collaborative would be counter to the persona, but to my way of thinking, and with 50 years of experience as a game master, I can tell you that a group that works together towards the objective, collaborates on their decision-making process, are much more familiar. They are much more like a family. And that boosted familiarity, that boosted awareness of what's going on with each other and who has which resources and which persona might have the information or the elements that you need to advance your personal objectives, all are indicators of belonging, that the group is no longer just a motley crew of individuals traveling down the same road. They are actually part of a coherent team, and that team effort really will show the difference between a L or W, as it were, in role-play games. The last one of these that we want to talk about is, if I can get my lights to come on, cooperation. Now, when we talk about cooperation here, we're not talking about just being in the same room doing the same thing. It really has to be more than just the perfunctory roll a series of attacks, determine how many successes, deal however much damage, and then wait for the return attack. Cooperation is actually about showing fairness. Cooperative means that perhaps I might have gained the initiative, but it makes more sense for me to surrender that to assist someone else. The concept of the shield bounce that you see in movies, where one person turns and puts a shield for the second person to leap off that into the second rank of the enemy. This kind of thing adds a level of fairness to the game because you're now showing how awesome the team is by its ability to share and communicate. It also provides a means for equality, because in the situation where you've got a game master, for example, who might be showing favoritism towards one or showing animosity towards one player, the collective can therefore operate more balanced in nature and therefore offer equality. And I know that these terms today are rather alien terminology or phrases, but the idea here is that both of these, collaboration and cooperation, collectively boost esprit de corps. The team does better when it feels better, and it feels better when it's working together. And I know it sounds really crazy, but all of this leads to and develops a sign of trust. If you are in the battle with a mate, and that person is putting themselves on the line, if you're able to demonstrate that you are right there with them, that you are present and you are willing to support them, you build trust player to player beyond just what the persona, the characters versus characters would feel, because you have now presented the opportunity for someone else to win at the game. Now, does this mean that one person wins over the other? No. Does this mean that one person gets a trophy or a prize? No. When I say that you can win at role play games and you can win at Dungeons and Dragons, what I'm referring to is that there is a greater boundary in role play games and in play in general if you can aspire to all 6 of these points that we've talked about, whether we are talking about the confidence to make the decisions, the commitment to follow them through, the cleverness in choosing new paths and offering suggestions on how you might advance, to being innovative and creative, and then ultimately being collaborative and cooperative in your gameplay. You are setting up what is the winning phrase in Dungeons and Dragons, which is this: it's not whether you win or lose, but rather how well you play the game. So the point here is that when you are playing, you play to your uttermost, and you aspire to these 6 points, and every one of your role-playing sessions will be a winner. I am Jonathan Alvin, and this is NycosRPG. If you like what you see, make sure you follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as to this channel if you want to avoid the commercial breaks and such that occur on Twitch. I presented this in a rather rapid fashion, and I was rather hypey, like, I suppose, as I was talking, because I wanted to make sure you understood that these 6 elements need to be used in concert. They need to be working together. If you are merely overconfident but you have no commitment, that is not going to fly. If you are arguably incredibly clever, but your cleverness is more about quips and phrases than it is about innovative ideas, then it's not going to be as successful. And ultimately, if your work with the game and the work within the game is not collaborative and cooperative, there are going to be weakenings in your chances of having a good time and playing the game to an enjoyable level, which is ultimately what winning is. When the biggest thing to realize is that games in particular are one aspect of human involvement that is wholly voluntary. A person doesn't play unless they intend to play. And although certainly people go to work and don't put forth their full effort, and even if there are people who, waste time in their leisure time, if you are committed to winning at Dungeons and Dragons, these are the 6 keys you will have to develop and accomplish in order to have that success you're looking for. And I can go one step further, and I can promise that if you commit to these, if you follow through on all 6 of these, you're going to have the kind of success you've always hoped for. And you will elicit in others a better participation level, a better commitment level, a better cooperation level than you've experienced before. So I want to thank you for being here. Remember, we do broadcast at 10 o'clock in the morning and at 11 p.m. Monday through Friday. And this is, of course, our Friday presentation. And I hope to see you tonight. And each and other episode as well. Sometimes I don't bat it out of the park. Sometimes my sessions don't function as well as they might. But I can tell you that 100% of my groups are absolutely committed and are winners every time they play. And I will ask that question of my player base as we go along. If you want to know how to make your sessions winners every time, and you haven't had that experience, check out NycosRPG.com for information on the property itself that's going to be available for purchase in the near future. We are going to be doing a pre-release promotion with a few select retailers, and so in particular, Board Game Paradise is one of our locals here in the Southern California area. If you would like to experience a role-play game live, you can do it online with us by joining our Patreon account, patreon.com/Nykos. Or you can visit the Board Game Paradise store in Redlands, California. We are there Mondays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays. Mondays and Tuesdays at 6 p.m. until closing at 10, a little after closing. And also our role-play roulette sessions on Saturdays from 2 to 6. Thank you again for being here today, and if you like what you see, follow us, and if not, thank you for the time you've submitted. And if you want to leave me a comment either in the chat or in a comment section either here or at the YouTube page, I'll be quick to respond to that. Thank you again, and I hope this has explained how you can actually win at role-play games and the 6 critical points you need to have in order to make that wow, my tongue's in front of my teeth and I can't see what I'm saying. If you follow these 6 keys, you will achieve your goal of succeeding at winning at Nycos D&D, or D&D, or any other role-play game for that matter. Thank you again, and have a great afternoon.